guys, it's Jessii Vee, and in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to the very creepy nightmares that you guys sent me. I got hundreds, if not thousands, of illustrations of your scariest dreams, and I firstly just want to say that you guys are amazing artists, and you scared me. I almost had to sleep with the lights on. Thanks for that. If you are currently watching this at my Nightmares Unleashed show on July 16th, hello! Also, huge shout out to my Jessii Vee World members, hello. And if you're watching this later on, hello to you too. We have a lot of nightmares to go through today and I'm so excited, but I firstly just want to say something that made me laugh during this process. About 50% of the people who sent me their nightmare drawing wrote the entire story in the email subject line. Do we not know how to write emails in this day and age? I mean, it's understandable. Like, everyone texts nowadays. When I was a kid, I only had email. I didn't have phone. I didn't have anything else. I didn't have social media. So I was a pro at emails, but it's not as common anymore and that's okay. You guys are just very cute and I had a really good laugh. So because I want to get through as many as I can, and you guys sent really long stories, which is awesome, and I did read through them, I am gonna summarize what you wrote so I can show the picture and then get as many people in this video as I can. So this very first nightmare is from Bella. She was 6 years old and she was sleeping in her mom's room, and she woke up and noticed something very strange at the end of the bed. And it was very blurry to her because she had only gotten glasses a week prior, so she thought she was just hallucinating because she saw this really creepy blurry thing in the room. She knew it was some sort of creature with pointy arms, and it was this black shadow, and it was floating, which isn't normal for a human to do. And the creepiest part is that this thing was looking at her while saying 666 over and over again. So this is the picture that she drew of this thing, and it's honestly terrifying, and she said she was frozen in fear. Imagine this thing whispering 666 to you over and over again. This next story comes from Louisa, who also had something very creepy staring at her. She had this nightmare when she was around 4 years old, and she too had the dream start with her lying in bed and something would just start looking at her. So she would get out of bed, go to the living room, she would try and get away from it, and she would sit on the couch and just sort of like try and sleep there. But as she was sitting on the couch, she saw this thing staring at her, and when she looked away and looked back, it would keep disappearing. So she'd go back into her bedroom, and then all of a sudden this thing would be over her chest looking at her. So let's see what she drew for this creature. This is so creepy, and she said that while it looked at her, it would screech and it would press down on her chest. And she said this dream was so realistic and traumatic, and I know those kind of dreams. Those are terrifying. Okay, this next dream is from a user called A Bunch of Flowers, and they would have a dream of this spider-like monster sitting on a swing and smiling creepily. And I'm gonna show you this creature right away because it's so scary. It has bags so dark you would think it hadn't slept in ages. It was just there with the wind blowing in the grass around it. And apparently as this monster was swinging, it fell and broke into a million pieces. And they say that they still see it all the time, and when they look back, it's gone. And that is just so scary to me. All right, the next dream is from Maggie Moo. And in this dream, they were paralyzed, they couldn't move. And when they looked up at the ceiling, there was a lady crawling all over the walls. And the weirdest thing is that there were multiple of her. And she wasn't able to move her legs. She could only use her arms to get around the room, which is scarier, definitely. So I'm gonna show you what they drew. Her mouth was wide, she had black eyes and long black hair, and the dream ended with her climbing onto her bed and pouncing on her. Isn't it interesting that we all have dreams about things like attacking us while we're in bed? I hate that. This next creepy dream is from Jay, and in their dream they were home alone because their family went to buy stuff for a party, and they went into their mom's room because that's the only room with a lock, and they saw something that looked like a mannequin. They saw a mirror on the floor and they picked it up and saw this terrifying face staring back at them. And then they dropped the mirror and looked down at their hands, and their fingers were falling off. And apparently when they woke up, they could still feel the pain of their fingers being missing, which is awful. It's the worst when you wake up from a dream and you still have like the remnants of that fear and that pain. I've been through that before. The next dream is from Riley, and they were checking the security camera footage from the cameras in the house that they had, and they saw this girl with black holes for eyes and a mouth. And this is the drawing. She says that she was in front of a doll and the doll's neck was extending and then moving back to normal. And then in a creepy voice, this thing kept saying, "It's broken." And it would like wave its head around in circles saying, "It's broken, fix it." That is a terrifying picture. I'm gonna definitely try not to think about that tonight. This next one is from Virginia. They said they live in a large forest on a mountain outside of a town with 5K people, and their house is really remote and hard to find. And whenever people try and drive drive there, they just get lost. And it was pitch black outside their house around 2 a.m. And this is what they drew. They looked out their window and saw this thing slowly walking towards their house. It was wearing a black robe, darker than the night, and the face was even darker. It looked like it was holding a hair blow dryer. It does, doesn't it? It definitely does. Maybe it was coming to do your hair. They said they told their parents the next day and they didn't believe them. I know. And that always happens in horror movies, doesn't it? The kid's always saying, "Oh mom, there was something creepy under my bed." And the parents are always like, "No, there wasn't." All right, this next dream is from Maria. She said that she was having this dream back when she was 9 years old. At the start of her dream, she was waking up, so she thought she was in real life, but everything was more colorful and everyone around her was smiling, which is super creepy. She says that even objects were smiling, so like things around her had faces. But then suddenly it turned to midnight and she was feeling very hungry, so she went into the kitchen. And here's what she drew. She says, "There was a pink pack of chips on the counter that my mom hadn't bought. So to my curiosity, I opened the bag of chips and then this head with a long neck and sharp teeth looked at me and swallowed me whole." I just gotta say, I love that you drew this and then you added real looking hair. Like, I think that's a photograph of real hair. I love that. Imagine trying to go eat your favorite snack and a head pops out at you. Okay, this next dream is from Avery. And they said that when they were younger, they had these friends that were obsessed with creepy dolls like Chucky. And because their friends were always talking about it, they eventually had a dream about it. Here's the photo. In the nightmare, it was them in a maze with all these good guys doll boxes and Chucky was chasing them. And then Chucky jumped out of nowhere and attacked their friend. And basically they were just running for their lives in this dream, trying to get away from all of these Chucky dolls. But then all of a sudden they saw their mom standing on an ice rink while walking their German Shepherd. Isn't it weird how dreams do that? Like, we're literally having the scariest dream ever and then suddenly like we're somewhere else, like eating bagels. All right, this next dream is from Emily. And this is a dream that she remembers having vividly from ages 7 to 8 years old. And this is what she drew. She says there was this woman with a decapitated head and it would just follow her around asking her if she had her body and asking her to help her look for her body. And apparently this thing had several different eyes of different shapes and colors. And this is just so creepy and I love this drawing. But yeah, I don't blame you for being freaked out by this. Anything that's just a floating head is not my cup of tea. As if it's anyone's, right? Imagine someone being like, "Hey, like what's your favorite thing in life?" And someone's like,
"Heads with no bodies." For sure.
Okay, this next dream is from Jocelyn, and she says she was 10 the last time she had this nightmare, and she calls it the creature with the flute. This is the picture. It starts out with an old man playing the flute peacefully, but after a minute, the old man became a terrifying creature who's bony and tall. The music got louder, and she would just start floating as the music was playing until she fell to the ground when it stopped. Now, if you guys have been watching this channel for a while, you know that I have had very creepy flute man dreams when I was a kid. So this hits close to home, okay? Okay, then we have one from Navina, and this is a very short explanation, so I'm just gonna show you the picture right away. It says, "This lovely guy was running after me all night. I believe that listening to metal music has its downsides." Yep. Yeah, it might. That might be influencing your dreams, but I get it, I understand. This is definitely scary. It's like a metal Dracula. You know, I'm kind of here for it though. All right, this next one is from Ollie. And they said they had a dream about something called one eye, which sounds already scary. And in the dream, they felt like something was watching them. You know when you get that feeling? We all have had that feeling before. And this is the photo they drew. They said that at the end of their bed, they could see these black hands crawling their way up. And then suddenly they saw this creature with one eye, a large smile, and one horn. And it just pops up and stares at them. And whenever they see it, they can't move, they can't breathe, they're so freaked out. And yeah, this is just so creepy. Another dream where someone is being watched by a monster. I mean, maybe to make you feel better, think of it as like a creepy unicorn. You know, maybe it's a unicorn that's having a bad day. Maybe it's a unicorn that joined the dark side. Okay, this next one is from Anastasia. Here's the photo. She says that in the dream, it was this gray stick man world and it was just black and white and super creepy. And she went downstairs and her mom was also a stick man and her toys were all over the place. And her mom had this creepy bloody smile on her face and she started ripping apart her toys and throwing them in the garbage. And Anastasia says that her friend is saying her dream is probably a lesson to appreciate the things you have and never take for granted, or else your mom's gonna tear them apart and throw them in the garbage. I do like that you're looking for morals in your dreams though. That's probably good. Okay, this next dream is from Samantha. She said this dream was really recent, only about 5 months ago. And it starts with her and her friends where they're walking down a sewer exploring and they heard something. And they were walking for a while with flashlights when they heard a bang. This is the image. It says, "My friend flashed her flashlight to see a giant spider demon thing with tiny bloodshot red eyes and a giant mouth. We all dropped our flashlight flashlights and sprinted out of there until one of her friends got eaten and she woke up. Wow. This is why you never walk down sewers, you know? If Pennywise taught us anything, it's to stay away from there. All right, this next one is from Annabelle. She says that in her dream, she was in her grandmother's room scrolling through TikTok, and all of a sudden an image of a man appeared on her screen and the USA emergency alert noise played in her AirPods at full volume. And this is what she drew. She says the photo was in black and white, but it showed a man with no skin or eyelids. His body was wrapped in cloth and his bulging eyes stared at me. I mean, this is so creepy. She says she woke up crying, which I don't blame you. Maybe the moral of this dream is to not go on TikTok for too long, but I would be a hypocrite if I said that because I definitely scroll there for a while at night too. All right, then we have one from Selzy. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But they said that when they were younger, around 5 or 6, they would wake up in the middle of the night and stare at the ceiling. And this is what they drew. They said they would see this creature girl who said her name was Annabelle. She had broken legs, long pointed fingers, and her hair would cover her face, and her clothes were all dirty and she was covered in blood. And Selzy says that they would kind of think of her as like this imaginary friend that they had. And they would see her every night until they turned 9 years old. And they actually say they miss her now that she's gone, which I mean is kind of sad then, I guess. I do have a genuine question though. Why are all kids' imaginary friends like really scary looking? I mean, I guess it's cool if they're like nice and friendly, which is good. But like, you know when you watch those horror movies and the kid is like,
"That's my friend standing over there in the dark corner. His name is Toby. He's 7 feet tall."
why is that always a thing? All right, this next one is from Ava, and she says that she has a nightmare about a girl holding her own head, which sounds awful. In her dream, she's walking down a lonely street at night, and out of the corner of her eye, she sees this girl on the side of the road, and this girl is like dressed in old-fashioned clothes, but as she gets closer, she realizes she has no head and she's holding it in her hands, and this is the photo that she drew. Her name is apparently Genevieve, and she asks her if she can hold her head, and she says no, and then suddenly her head jumps out of her hands and grows scrawny legs and starts screeching and chasing her. Yep, it's you should never trust a ghost with no head, and you should never ask to hold the head either. That's probably where you went wrong. Okay, this next one is from Palin. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. But here's the nightmare drawing. They say the cowering person is them, and the figure above is also them, and they're kind of watching this dream in a third perspective. They say the nightmare was after my graduation. I was bullied very badly during those years, and in the dream I sort of yell at myself and blame myself that I should have continued to fight back and that I let my past self down. This suddenly got really, really sad. Honestly, when I first saw this drawing, I thought it was really, really scary. Like, it's a really good drawing and it's also terrifying, but once I heard your backstory about it, my heart broke. Honestly, never blame yourself for things that other people do. When people bully you, they have their own issues going on in their life, and you should never take that blame, ever. Trust me, I've been there. Just stick around the people who love you and treat you well, and pray that those people who bully you get help, you know? And you should definitely take up drawing. This is really, really good. Okay, this next one is from Jackson, and in their nightmare, it starts with them waking up and going to school, but the school didn't exist, and the people and friends he had there didn't exist. He didn't know them in real life. And after school, he went to soccer practice for a team that doesn't exist. And this is what he drew. It says, throughout the whole dream, Mr. No Neck would appear around corners and no one else saw him. And also the whole dream, he remembers seeing everything through a red tint. This is such a good drawing and it's so, so cool. Even though it's terrifying, but I love when you guys give these creatures names like Mr. No Neck. I love it. Okay, this next one is from Erin, and here's the drawing and what they wrote. When a house is no longer a home, it strangles you like memories you wish you could forget, cradling you and rocking you in its arms like it means you no harm. Once you realize it's just the delusion distracting you, it's too late, and you're being drained from every ounce of oxygen you have left. All there is to show from the abandonment is silence, or really the abstinence of cries. What? First of all, wow. This drawing is absolutely wonderful. I know I said I wasn't gonna be like critiquing drawings, but when I see one that I'm like, woo, I have to say it. But they're all really good, obviously. But yeah, that description gave me a sense of impending doom, so thank you for that. Okay, this next one is from Olivia. She says that she used to have this dream when she was about 6 or 7 years old. And this is a drawing. She says it's this thing that would very slowly follow her and just stare at her, and he would speak in a very low voice, and he would ask her to do tasks for him, and if they weren't complete by the time she woke up, he would chase her. And because of these creepy dreams, she would like refuse to go to bed. Like, she would tell her parents she did not want to sleep. And I don't blame you, that's scary. I'm glad you're not having them anymore. All right, then we have one from Gabrielle. She says she dreams that she was in this liminal looking space of red and was looking for her mother. And after about an hour, she heard this shuffle and slowly this thing with eyes all over its face was dragging something, and it noticed her and looked over into her eyes, and it started lifting its clawed hands. And that looks terrifying. Honestly, it looks like the back rooms, and I have had so many nightmares about the back rooms. I would never want to be there. Liminal spaces always gives me the heebie-jeebies. Okay, Lexi. In this dream, she is seeing creepy shadowed figures from the side of her eye, and let me just warn you before I show you this picture, it is so scary. I saw it and it's literally like a jump scare. It's not actually a jump scare, but like when I saw it, I like, woo! You know what I mean? This is it. She says, it appeared in my window and I blinked and it was at the bottom of my bed and it felt like I was staring at this figure in my dream for over an hour. This is terrifying to me. What is this? I would literally move out and never come back. Okay, this next one is from Kinley. She said the door slowly creaked open and her gaze fell upon the shadow-filled room. And as she entered the room, she found a large hand with strings attached to each finger. And she realized that the puppet was her, which is so terrifying. Imagine being controlled by a giant hand. I would never want that. All right, this next one is from Madison. She used to have this dream when she was about 5 years old. And here's the photo. She says it was a creature without a head, but the face was on its torso. Apparently this monster killed her mom, and apparently this creature was like attacking all of her family, like her mom and dad, which is awful. And once again, it's a monster with no head. Why are they everywhere? Okay, I love this picture. This one is from Touchstone 86. It says, I was in Serbia after a long day of frog collecting and I was hungry, so I decided to go to Burger King, but there was a McDonald's across the road, but I decided to still go to Burger King. I ordered chicken fries and then drove away, but then I saw Ronald McDonald with an army of McNuggets, and then I woke up. I love this drawing. I literally want to print it out and frame it and put it on my wall. Chicken nuggets with eyes, and it's an army coming to get you. I mean, I don't even think this is a nightmare. This is like the best dream ever. All right, this next one is from Annie, and this is about a creature that she named the Green Dress Lady, and she was seeing this creature standing behind her bedside table in her room, and this is what she drew. It says the woman was 7 feet tall, and she was holding something wrapped in a cloth, like how you would hold a baby. She had no face, just blackness, and she was wearing this very dark green dress that it was almost black. And apparently when she looked at her, she couldn't look away, so it was almost like sleep paralysis, and that's like the most terrifying kind of dream. And they said they made the picture super dark on purpose. You can kind of see it as how she saw it, which is terrifying. Okay, then we have one from Rocket Raccoon, and I love that username. This is the picture. This creature has been haunting my dreams for a while now. His name is Mr. Twisty, and every night before I sleep, I see his face in my eyelids and in my dreams. And apparently he chases you through dark hallways, which is very terrifying. And this thing uses its long arms to grab you. And they always woke up with tears in their eyes, which I don't blame you. This thing actually reminds me of like one of those toys I had as a kid that you would like stretch. It had like long arms and long legs, and it was like jiggly almost. I would not want that to chase me. And last but not least, we have one from Celeste. And she actually took a photo of the stairs in her house and then digitally drew over it, and the picture looks really cool. Here's the picture, and it says, I had a dream where I was at the bottom of my stairs and I was with my 2 friends, and out of nowhere a giant creature that could shapeshift its face ran down the stairs. One of my friends was attacked and I ran upstairs and got chased by it. And she says this is one of her scariest dreams, and it looks like it, okay? Everyone knows the feeling of something chasing them up the stairs, okay? We've all turned the light off and tried to run upstairs and thought something was behind us. Anyways, guys, those are all of the nightmare drawings I'm able to go through today. I definitely want to make like a part 2 and part 3. So if you want me to continue this series, let me know because I would love to. And thank you so much to everyone who sent in their nightmares. If I couldn't get to it, I'm so sorry. But just so you know, I did read and look at every single one of them. So if you did send one to me, I did see it. So thank you so much. It's just, I love all these. I love including you guys in my videos. And once again, if you're watching this at my Nightmares Unleashed show, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support. And if you're a member in Jessii Vee World, once again, huge shout out to you. You guys are amazing. And if you're watching this later, I hope you enjoyed. But I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!